Hurricane Milton hit Florida's west coast this past week, but most of the damage was actually done by tornadoes, many of which happened right here in my county, St. Lucie County, including one that actually decimated the office and building of one of our customers, Al's Family Farms. I'm going to go over and show you pictures of some of the damage. I'm going to actually show you steps that Al's Family Farms took prior to the hurricane that saved their computers, their data, their important data, and also go over how we're helping them after the storm get up and running and continue to function. I'm Brian Longworth, host of A Faster PC Live Technical Support. I've been solving computer technical and cybersecurity problems for over 27 years and have been hosting A Faster PC Live Technical Support for over 24 years. And coming up next, I'll go over this damage that was done. So Hurricane Milton did hit Florida's west coast this past week, but most of the damage was actually done by tornadoes that were spawned from this. Tornadoes that really were much more powerful than anyone in Florida that I know of has ever seen and has ever remembered. I've been here for many, many years, and I moved here when I was 3 years old. I've seen a lot of hurricanes, and really, it wasn't the hurricanes that did the damage, it was the tornadoes. Some of those tornadoes actually destroyed homes, ripped roofs off, tore buildings down. Some of them actually killed people. We also had one of our customers, Al's Family Farms, that had their building ripped shred to shred. I'm going to actually switch over to a full screen. I'm going to show you some of the damage that happened to their building and some of the surrounding businesses as well. And also, again, talk about some of the steps they took that protected them prior to the storm, that protected their data, kept their computers safe, and also, of course, you can implement these same steps in the future, and you can even start implementing some of these right now. Also, we'll talk about how we're helping them get back up and running. So I'm going to switch over again to a full screen so you can see this damage. So this is actually not on Al's Family Farms property. This is on a property on Kings Highway. This is just an oak tree. You see the limbs just ripped and shredded here by the wind. This is actually a picture of a truss factory that was decimated on Kings Highway. This is just some of the roofing material that's lying along the road. This again is a picture of the Truss company, another picture of the Truss company. And we do have some other businesses here as well. So this is actually Al's Family Farms property. So this building that we're looking at here was their big barn and also their office building. And the area that we're looking at right now was where their call center was operating. And you can see that the tornado just twisted the metal, collapsed walls. You can see the metal trusses just bent there. This truck was parked near the building, normally a safe place to park, but you can see that something hit it pretty badly in the back. You can see trees that are shredded. These citrus bins that were stacked actually beside the building, just tossed all around. There's actually a walk-in cooler that was moved 25 to 30 feet away from where it was. So this was their office, the main doors. And again, this is their grill and another picture of the parking lot. This was actually their packing house. So, at the packing house, this is where they packed all the fruit and lots of damage there. This is their warehouse, and you actually had less damage in the warehouse than you had in other places. This is actually their office, the office area, and right above this is open skies. So, totally ripped the entire roof off there. You see drop ceiling that came down in certain places, and this is actually their room where the server was. They did have plywood above the server, so above the drop ceiling there was actually plywood that helped save them and kept this room more intact and more dry. You can see the wall actually tilted at about a 15-degree angle there. The server thankfully was dry, even though there's you see insulation around. This was Jeff's office, which was in that same room but bordered the call center that was totally decimated. His computers did get wet, and one of them had his new Mac has a cracked screen. So this is another picture of the outside and some of the trees. Another picture of the call center from the outside. We did actually go inside, and to get inside we actually had to go in and cut the doors. I brought a Sawzall, and we had to cut the doors because even unlocking them, because the doors were at an angle, the whole building was at an angle, we had to actually cut the doors to get in there. You can see we actually climbed over this debris to get and retrieve the computers, some of which actually had water dripping out of them from the rain and being exposed to the elements. And Al's Family Farms is flying their flag at half-mast in honor and remembrance of those who actually died and who lost their lives there. By the way, they were in that building 20 minutes before that tornado hit the building. And I got a call from their office just a few minutes after it happened. They knew that it happened from their son, one of their sons, who's a firefighter. So you see the damage there. You really never know when something like that could happen. Obviously, they didn't leave their office thinking it's going to be totally destroyed and we're not going to be able really to operate here anymore. But that's really what happened. About 20 minutes after they left the building, the tornado came in and just ripped the building to shreds. Thankfully, they weren't there to experience the wrath of that tornado. I'm sure things were flying all over the place. One of the things that we did see, actually an air handler that used to be, and their drop ceiling was at about 16 feet off the ground, and that air handler actually was above the drop ceiling. That air handler was actually about 5.5 feet above the ground. Printers and desks and monitors and computers just covered with the debris from the ceiling. And this is something that definitely when they left, did not know what was going to happen to them. But they did take some key steps that actually saved their computers. First of all, they actually had a faster PC provide them with managed backup. And this managed backup included cloud backup. So their data, if their entire building were destroyed and all of their computers were destroyed, they would not have lost any data. We would have been able to recover all. So far, we've been able to get their computers, the ones that we have tried, we've been able to get them back up. But there may be we'll have to look and see. We haven't tried all of them. We actually have more that we haven't tried than those that we have online right now. But we'll talk more about that in just a minute. But they did take proactive steps to protect against data loss. And when you're protecting against data loss, you need to protect against really something that's unlikely to happen. I mean, this tornado was unlikely to hit their building, but it did hit their building. You have to prepare for the unlikely. You have to prepare. You need to prepare for natural disasters. You need to prepare for fire. You need to prepare for flood. You need to prepare for theft, for sabotage, for someone purposely damaging. You need to prepare for ransomware, of an employee accidentally clicking on a link, or maybe you accidentally clicking on a link and encrypting your data. We have solutions that can help protect your data, just like we protected the data of Al's Family Farms. They also turned their computers off. Let me tell you, if their computers had been on when the roof was ripped off that building, with a storm out there and rain coming down, their computers would have been fried. We don't know whether the data from the drives would have been damaged or not, but I can guarantee you that the motherboards and probably the power supplies would have been fried. We have customers that come in all the time that have spilt something into their computer, and sometimes they continue to use it, or they let it dry out for a few minutes, or they think, they blow a hairdryer on it for a few minutes, and then they turn it back on and it fries. This is what happens. I can tell you, though, that if you let computers dry before you turn them on, if they're not on when the liquid is in contact with the system, and you let them dry first, then what can actually happen is the computer can be usable. Maybe not usable as it was before. Maybe it won't last as long as it did before, but it's still usable enough to maybe use or maybe get your data off of it so that you can protect it. In 2004, we actually, at our store in our bay, we actually had 2 hurricanes that hit our area in 3 weeks. The first hurricane ripped the entire roof, trusses and all, off of the bay next to our business. And the first bay ripped about a quarter of that roof off and ripped about 8 foot of the roof on our building. The wall that was exposed, where 8 foot was totally missing, that wall had $30,000 in inventory on it. New motherboards, new processors, new cables, all kinds of things, some expensive, some not as expensive, hard drives, all kinds of components on that wall. And of course it was damaged, and the water that was coming down was ocean water because it was a hurricane. It had been picked up over the ocean, so it had a lot of salt in it. We knew that corrosion was going to set in. We did file an insurance claim. The insurance company actually paid us for that inventory, but didn't want it back. They didn't want that inventory. So we hung on to it. We let it dry out. We tested the components, and you know what? The components did have corrosion, and they probably would not have lasted as long as they would have lasted without being soaked in salt water. But they actually did work. Every single one of them worked. We had another customer that had some laptops, and they were going out for the evening. They were concerned that someone might come in and steal. Someone might break in and steal their computers. So they actually hid these on the floor underneath furniture. And lo and behold, they actually had a leak in their house, and they had about an inch of water in their house, and these laptops got wet. And I don't know what period of time transpired between the time this leak happened and the time they brought the computers to us, but that was long enough to allow the laptops to dry out. And let me tell you, this wasn't ocean water. And we actually tested the laptops because they brought them to us to test so that we could write something up to their insurance company telling their insurance company that the laptops were no good and that they needed to replace them and giving them an estimate for a new laptop. Lo and behold, the computers turned on and worked perfectly fine. There was no problems that was caused by the water. We opened them up. We couldn't see any sign of any corrosion even because, again, the water was clean water. It wasn't ocean water. So you need to really make sure that the computers are dry, that the parts are dry. And so if your computer actually did get wet, or maybe even in the future you have a computer that gets wet, what you need to do, and a lot of times, it can be from a storm, but more often than not, what we see happen is someone is using maybe a laptop and they have a glass of water or a glass of wine or orange juice or beer or something else next to it, and they accidentally hit it, knock it over, or maybe a cat or a child hits it and knocks it over, and it gets spilled into the laptop. Now, if the laptop's on, that's really bad news. You want to turn it off immediately. press the power button, hold it in for about 4 seconds and turn it off. If it's running, if you have an external battery, remove the battery, turn it up on its side, let the whatever liquid is there drain out, bring it to a computer repair shop. We can actually open it up, and we have in some cases even soaked some components in distilled water and then dehydrated the system, and sometimes you can bring things back to life. Sometimes parts need to be replaced though. We actually did have one customer that was very wealthy and actually had a Lamborghini phone that he paid almost $8,000 for this phone. And he lived on the beach, and he was walking with his phone on the beach in about 2 foot of water, and he dropped his phone. Well, he picked it up, he was able to get it, but the phone didn't turn on after that. He brought it to us. We actually took it apart. We soaked it in distilled water, getting rid of the sand that was clogging different parts of it, getting rid of the salt that was causing corrosion, and then we dehydrated it, put it in a dehydrator for a week. Now, a week might have been a little bit overkill, but this was an expensive phone. But the big thing was his pictures, his text, his call record, his contacts were not backed up, and he wanted us to see if we could retrieve these. Well, after a week, we put the phone back together. We were able to use it, not well enough to actually have him use it, but we were able to use it well enough and get it running and functioning well enough to be able to extract his pictures, his contacts, his text records, and also his phone records. So all of that he actually had. He didn't lose any of it. He did go out and buy another expensive phone, not a Lamborghini phone, but another expensive phone, and we transferred that information over to his other phone. So the key thing here, they turned their computers off. That saved them. If their computers had been on when this happened, they would have been in big trouble, because those computers would have actually fried during that time, and we would be replacing those computers. Now again, probably they're going to have some corrosion in many of their computers, especially the ones that had water dripping out of them. We're going to recommend that they process a claim with their insurance company. But right now, again, we don't have all the computers. We haven't tested all of them. But right now, we went in their office, we dug through the rubbish, and we brought it back to my office, our office, about 30 of their computers. So right now, we've also brought back their Comcast modems, their routers, their switches, and right now in our office, we actually have several of their computers running. So we'll get into that a little bit more. But again, the key takeaways from what to do ahead of a storm is to make sure you have a good, recent, off-site backup. So a backup that's on-site if you have fire won't help you or may not help you. If the computer is damaged, the backup may be damaged as well. A backup that's on-site next to your computer, if your computer is stolen, probably won't help you as well, because that will be stolen likely as well. So this is something that you definitely want to take steps. They also unplug the computers. And again, if you have computers that get wet, either through a natural disaster or through just maybe an accident where you accidentally spill something on the computer, make sure you turn it off, leave it off, dry it, clean it, make sure it's all the way completely dry. If it's a laptop or an all-in-one, just know it's not going to dry in a day. It's going to take some time. Of course, opening it up, which is difficult with a laptop or an all-in-one, but that would speed it up. We can definitely help with anything like this also. Now, what we did, again, is we brought their network equipment and their computers to our office, and last night I spent time actually getting their network equipment connected. One thing with Comcast, you can actually move the modem to another location. If you have a Comcast feed that is live and is already connected and configured for their network, all you have to do is plug in. Comcast is going to allow that modem to access the internet. because of the MAC address. Every network device has a MAC address, and Comcast has programmed for that modem's MAC address to be allowed to access the internet on their network. So we have both of their modems. They have two Comcast modems because they had two feeds, one in the grill and one in their office, and we had both of those actually connected right now in our office. We have their routers that they were using connected in our office. They have a backup AT&T cellular modem, or we have that in our office connected to its router as well. We have all of those connected into our network here. And what we're actually doing and what we're looking at is we have their servers connected and running. We also have several of their computers, not all of them. We focused on the key ones first, and we have several systems functioning right now so that they can actually, one of the things Jeff, the owner of Al's Family Farms and the son of Al, what he actually told me is that he had actually already sent out a mailer. He sent this out prior to the storm happening, and that mailer actually hit the houses and hit mailboxes yesterday. So he has customers opening up mail, offering to ship fruit. And by the way, what Al's Family Farm does, they are the largest, or they are the oldest gift fruit shipper and packing house in the state of Florida. They do pack all kinds of citrus, so from ruby red Indian River grapefruit to Valencia oranges to Honeybell oranges to navel oranges. They have all kinds of different oranges that you can order from Al's Family Farms. You can go to alsfamilyfarms.com and you can place your order. They do also take orders over the phone as well, and they also do offer peaches and Vidalia onions. Of course, this doesn't all happen at the same time. These various types of fruit mature and get ready for the market at different times of the year. So in its time, they are actually able to provide this. It's very good fruit. People buy it for themselves. People buy it for others and ship it to others and give it away as a gift. They do have the honey bells aren't available for Christmas, but if you do order the honey bells, they actually will send out a postcard to your whoever's getting that, so that they can have that for Christmas and know that they're going to get honey bells when they are available. And just a really, really neat family business. But one of the things that's really cool is that starting last night, I actually got one of their customer service reps' computer ready for her to log into, and I have another customer service rep's computer ready to get ready for Monday. Could have got her ready today, but she was off today. But Monday morning, they'll actually have two customer service reps that are actually able to log in. One of the things that's really neat too, the one that I got on last night, she already worked remotely quite often, and she's logging into the same computer that she logged into before with the same configuration that she used before, and it's going to all be the same. She doesn't really even, if I didn't tell her and she didn't know that the building was destroyed, and I didn't tell her that these computers are at my office, she really wouldn't know the difference between the computer being at our office and the computer being at their location. So we don't have printers set up here yet. Of course, we might do that. We could do that, but we do have these computers set up where the people that are calling in and placing an order, then their customer service people can actually call them back. They can get into their system. They can place the order. They can help them with anything. They'll be able to help them with tracking information. We're not quite ready to start shipping citrus in the state of Florida yet, but when that happens, and it's going to happen real soon, you can go to alsfamilyfarms.com. You'll be able to order those. One of the things that we did want to just let you know, we provide managed services for customers. And we provide this for businesses, for medical offices, dental offices. We provide it for accounting offices. We provide it for gift fruit shippers. We provide it for home office people, and we even provide this for residential clients as well. If you're out there and you want to be a managed client, you want to have someone that you can call on at any point, someone that actually will climb through construction debris, or not just construction debris, but really debris that's left from a building being collapsed and torn apart, ripped shred to shred, someone that will bring out that will come out even before the road is officially open because power lines are down and they're not allowing anyone other than the owners to get there. Someone that can contact the owner and say, hey, come here and tell the police officers that it's okay for me to come through. Someone that will bring out a Sawzall and help you cut through the door if necessary to get to your computer, and will box those up and take them back to our office. I mean, their computers are going to be running here from our office for as long as they need to be. We're bringing them up and allowing them to operate. We have other computers again. Many of them got more wet than the ones that we got set up already, but we wanted to actually get these set up. We're letting the others dry out, and as soon as they're dry enough and we have the time, we'll be getting more and more of their computers set up and connected. If you want this type of service, if you want a company that can help you know that even if your building is blown apart, even if you totally lose your computers, even if you don't have any data available, that your computer is actually protected, and you actually are going to know that your system is safe because even if the computer dies, it can be rebuilt. You can have a new computer and you can restore all of your data, that critical company data or critical pictures, critical photos, critical documents, critical PDF documents, accounting information, QuickBooks and QuickBooks data files. All of that information we were able to preserve. Thankfully, we haven't yet needed to get into the backup. But some of these computers that had water dripping out of them, we don't know. If we need to get that backup, we know that we have that data secure. If you're out there, you want to actually take advantage of this, give us a call at 772-878-5978, 772-878-5978. If you've liked this video and want to see more like it, click the like button, click subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when we release new videos. If you want to know that your data is safe and protected, even if your building is blown apart, you need a faster PC.